on DC News Now.
I want to be very clear that this is a political assassination.
Conservative activist Charlie Kirk shot and killed.
It's scary to think that America is a place where you can get shot for your political view, and that should never be. That's not what this country is.
Investigators have a person of interest in custody, but are also urging people to come forward with information.
The crime emergency in D.C. ending tonight.
It's made a difference. They ain't stopping nothing completely, but it's making a difference.
I thought it was totally unnecessary.
What it means for the district, even with the National Guard sticking around.
After the clouds and drizzle we had today, we should be seeing drier conditions for the end of the week. The latest details coming up.
Fire at a power substation in the district. It temporarily shuts down electricity for more than 100 customers.
Hanging out with Washington legends at Northwest Stadium, the sports clinic for kids from the DMV.
We begin with breaking news. Conservative activist Charlie Kirk shot and killed at a Utah college in what the governor calls a political assassination. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for DC News Now at 9. I'm Susan Train.
And I'm Chris Flanagan, the FBI director, saying just moments ago, a person of interest has now been released after an interrogation by law enforcement. So investigators still searching for that shooter. DC News Now's Ben Dennis has been closely following this story.
He is joining us live now on Capitol Hill, where people have been gathering for a vigil tonight. Ben, what's the latest?
Well, there was at least one vigil that was scheduled, announced on social media earlier tonight, one at a Catholic church on Capitol Hill. But Americans from all walks of life are condemning what happened in Utah earlier today, including Republicans and Democrats from both sides of the aisle here on Capitol Hill, saying that political violence of any kind is not welcome in this country. Now, Kirk was shot and killed in Utah on a college campus today at Utah Valley University. Videos posted to social media are far too graphic to show you right now. Shows him speaking into a handheld microphone while sitting under a white tent in an amphitheater setting. It's quite a large crowd gathered to hear him speak. A single shot rang out. Kirk's body jolted back and a large volume of blood gushed from the left side of his neck. Stunned spectators, no doubt. They gasped and they screamed. Many ducked, piled on top of each other. Some even ran off. Utah Governor Spencer Cox called the killing politically motivated.
This is a dark day for our state. It's a tragic day for our nation. And I want to be very clear that this is a political assassination.
Kirk was a close ally of President Donald Trump. Trump credited Kirk with energizing and mobilizing young conservatives to vote for him. The president announcing Kirk's death on Truth Social, saying in part, quote, "The great and even legendary Charlie Kirk is dead. No one understood or had the heart of the youth in the United States of America better than Charlie. He was loved and admired by all, especially me, and now he's no longer with us. Melania and my sympathies go out to his beautiful wife, Erica, and family. Charlie, we love you." Now, we also spoke to people right here in the district to get their reaction of what happened in Utah.
No one deserves to be shot. And I'm shocked, really, because, no one's safe.
Just the latest in a string of politically motivated violence that have happened in this country in recent months and in recent years. Of course, stay with us live on air and online at DCNewsNow.com as this story certainly develops. And the FBI is still looking for a suspect. Live on Capitol Hill, Ben Dennis, back to you.
Ben, thank you. Yeah, the reactions to Charlie Kirk's death pouring in from all across the DMV.
With so many saying that they're just shocked by the act of violence. Take a listen.
No one deserves to be shot. And I'm shocked, really, because, no one's safe.
From Maryland posting on social media, violence is never the answer. It is never acceptable, never. Virginia's Governor Glenn Youngkin also sharing on social media. He's praying for Charlie Kirk and his family.
And this is a breaking story tonight. We will bring you the latest details both here on air and online at DCNewsNow.com. Meanwhile, we are now just a few hours from the end of President Trump's federal takeover of D.C. police. It means federal officers will no longer be patrolling the streets.
But the National Guard troops, many will remain. D.C. News Now's Yamri Sase joining us live there at Union Station. And Yamri, the law enforcement surge has gotten some mixed reviews.
All right, well, President Trump's federal takeover will come to an end at midnight, and that essentially just means that he will no longer have direct control over DC's police force. Now, people we spoke with throughout the day definitely mentioned that some do feel safer, others feels it is unnecessary, and we did speak to Mayor Muriel Bowser earlier today, and she made it clear that we can expect to see federal agencies around the district to really enhance public safety when it comes to the district. Now, the federal takeover actually began about a month ago, 30 days ago, to crack down on crime. National Guard troops from several states along with other federal agencies were brought in to help, and MPD was also required to assist with immigration enforcement. Now, while city leaders say crime was already trending down before the takeover, data shows violent crime dropped about 40% this past month compared to last year. Now, according to Attorney General Pam Bondi, more than 2,300 arrests were made and over 200 guns were seized. And starting at midnight, Mayor Bowser says we can expect federal officers to stay in the district, but MPD will be back under the leadership of Chief Pamela Smith and the mayor and will no longer be required to help with immigration enforcement. Now, as for the National Guard, the DC troops will remain, but the out-of-state troops could stay until November, and all of this comes as residents continue to share mixed feelings about the past 30 days.
Made a difference. Yeah, they ain't stopping nothing completely, but it's making a difference.
I thought it was totally unnecessary because crime in DC had been trending downward. MPD had been doing a pretty good job where I live at.
Now, again, that federal takeover will end at midnight tonight. We're now reporting here in Northeast. I'm Jan Marisa Say, DC News Now.
Meanwhile, the restaurant where President Trump and several of his cabinet members ate last night is now being bombarded with bad reviews. Despite that, Joe's Seafood still saw a steady lunch crowd today. Nearby, negative reviews are also affecting locally owned food company Good Company Donuts and Cafe. After a customer pointed out their donuts were featured at the White House, they made a post about it on Monday. That backlash was swift. Tuesday, they apologized.
We're going to overcome the negative reviews. We do everything we can to lift those up around us. Doesn't matter if it's our team members, the folks in the community that need food. We donate our donuts all the time. Daily pickups for food insecure folks.
Well, today, Yelp moderators placed an unusual activity alert on the Joe's Seafood page and temporarily disabled the ability to post reviews. Google also says it's removing reviews that are not based on real experiences. Joe's Seafood declined to comment.
The federal takeover has had an iconic activist known as the Sandwich Guy. Sean Dunn has now pleaded not guilty to a misdemeanor assault charge. The former Justice Department attorney is accused of throwing a sub at an ICE agent back in August. In video here that you're seeing from that, the DOJ originally pushed for a more serious felony charge, but just last week a grand jury refused to indict him. There are now these Banksy-style art of the Sandwich Guy plastered across the city. Of course, also posters, T-shirts, and totes commemorating his act of defiance. Developing tonight in the district, a fire at the Pepco substation here in Northeast. Take a look. The transformer caught fire, and firefighters say the flames then may have also damaged a second one.
People that saw this early reported it early, and it helped us get here faster to identify what exactly was on fire. At this time, there is no threat or danger to the community.
The situation is very fluid, and there is a possibility of additional customer impact in the event that we have any additional equipment impacted by this.
At last check, there are about 30 customers impacted by the fire. Crews are now just keeping an eye on the facility to make sure there are no more issues.
All right, let's get a first check on the forecast. Chief Meteorologist Jackie Lair. Kind of a so-so ho-hum day today.
Yeah, it was really drizzly and wet.
Yeah, it was a bit dreary out there for much of the day. I would say, especially for the eastern half of the area. Some spots did see some sun. We had to go all the way out along and west of the I-81 corridor to see that. Satellite and radar, though, out there right now, you can kind of still see the cloud cover out there, I would say, from about Leesburg all the way to the east. Still socked in by the cloud cover. We did have a couple sprinkles earlier, and those sprinkles are slowly fading away. Those temperatures out there right now hovering into those 60s for much of the area. That's relatively on the milder side compared to what we had earlier in the week. Satellite and radar showing us a wider view. The reason why we had all the cloud cover today is that coastal low. Now that is pulling away, so it'll take much of the cloud cover with it, but it's going to be slowly eroding the cloud cover. Overnight lows tonight, low to mid 50s back out towards the west. where we will likely see more of that clearing, but closer towards the I-95 corridor, hovering into those lower 60s where the clouds will linger a little bit longer, like you see with Futurecast through the overnight tonight. Now, we could start off with a bit of some patchy fog, a little bit of that mist too, before eventually that should slide out. We should see more of that sunshine breaking out, and high temperatures tomorrow back in those lower 80s for much of the area. About more details coming out the rest of that 7-day forecast in just a few minutes.
Jackie, thank you. New tonight in Maryland, Prince George's County police are looking for 3 people wanted for a murder last month. They released this new surveillance video of the suspects walking on Indian Head Highway there in Oxon Hill. It's right near the D.C.-Maryland border. Now, investigators say the 3 are wanted for killing Nathaniel Greer and shooting another teen who is expected to be okay. If you have any information, if you recognize these 3 people, police want to hear from you.
And in Virginia, an alleged drunk driver is accused of crashing into a home late last night in North Stafford. Stafford County Sheriff's Office says pickup truck slammed into a parked car, then hit that home. This happened on Huff Drive. You can see here significant damage to that house. There's also damage to a Mercedes and a light post, and a tree was also uprooted. Alexandros Brownlee is now charged with driving under the influence and multiple felony charges. He's being held without bond. A lot of pushback in Maryland over plans for a possible data center at the old Landover Mall.
We're talking about dozens of neighbors opposed to the move showing up at a Prince George's County Task Force meeting, and they say they've watched data centers in other communities that have had a huge impact on the environment, spiked up their utility costs, plus the noise, and it ruins their neighborhood, they say. The Maryland National Capital Park and Planning Commission signed off on the Landover site last year, but the project still needs additional approvals before it can be built.
Past leaders had intentionally made sure it would never come before the council, and we are doing our best to figure out how to do this properly moving forward.
The pollution, the detriment to the waterways, as well as light and noise pollution.
They could bring in a ton of revenue, but it's about where. And I think that this site is not ideal, and I don't think that they should ever be close to homes or schools.
Well, the task force will make recommendations about the data center, and a final decision on the site that'll be made by a collaboration of county departments and agencies.
And now to a gridiron dream come true for some teens and young adults in the DMV. The athletes from the Special Olympics getting a chance to learn from the pros.
What a thrill, right? Their coaches for the day, none other than some Washington legends. DC News Now's Tim Reed takes us to Northwest Stadium, where there is no shortage of smiles.
I spoke to Washington Commanders legend Santana Moss, who tells us this sports clinic means so much to him. And the Special Olympics athletes tell us this means the world to them, too. Just like real NFL football players, these Special Olympics athletes got to run out the tunnel into the Commander Stadium to kick off the sports clinic.
We're all powerful in our own way, and we're all special and different in our own kind of way. So I think this is a good special event, honestly, for all generations of all kids.
There's the handoff. Nice. Former Commanders players like Santana Moss, Alfred Morris, and Josh Morgan spent several hours running football drills with 50 teens from the DMV.
On behalf of the Commanders, you know, it's always my pleasure just to come out here, man, and be a part of it. I think when you have a group of people that idolize what you do on the field, and you get a chance now to show them how some of these things that you've learned throughout your, I guess you could say, your job.
Moss says he does it to make a difference in these kids' lives. And this experience can help equip them, he says, with skills for tackling challenges both on the field and in everyday life.
You know, one of the things about football is it correlates with life probably more than any other sport.
I pray every day. I prayed this morning before I came here, and man, nothing but God, as Jaden Danes would say, nothing but God.
Today's event was the second annual sports clinic. In Landover, Maryland, Tim Reed, DC News Now.